Okay, I am starting this series on how to decipher AI when you see it because there are too many people out there that I love and admire on LinkedIn whose posts look exactly alike. And it isn't that these machines aren't learning from humans, they are. However, the machines go overboard and they tend to make everyone sound just alike. So today we are going to talk about the rule of three. Many of you know about this from speaking. It's powerful. You may even use it in writing if you do any kind of narrative writing. Probably not so much in business. But I will tell you that the way that AI formats the rule of three, I call them triplets. They're three fragments and they're written like they're verse. Poets use verse, executives do not. So that's a really good indication that AI wrote it and the person who posted it did not do a thing to edit it. So, can I show you what that looks like? I had AI write something for me around the quiet in between. In fact, it's going to be a part of our flight path. But look at what it did. Okay. I'm going to separate it just so you can see it a little bit more clearly. But there are three things here. Engagement becomes selective, adoption becomes uneven, and then it gives you a long line. Okay. A lot of times AI is going to give you just these three bullets, and sometimes they're not going to be complete sentences. They're going to be fragments, and it shows up like an eyesore because so many of the posts that we see out there now are shaped and formatted the exact same way. And it goes like this. It's long, short, 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 long. Okay. That's a great indication. But this is the way I would say you need to edit this to make it sound more human like. In fact, you need to ask yourself, do I write this way? Do I even speak this way? And then answer the question with your edit. So here's how I'm going to edit it. And y'all, I've been writing since I was 18 years old in every genre of writing that you can imagine. So you can trust me on this one, not to mention the last four books that have been published. Okay. When those internal conversations are not acknowledged, they do not disappear. They begin to shape behavior in quieter ways. I wouldn't write it this way. In fact, I would probably not use this choppy sentence at the end. I would probably, this is just me. It may not be you, but it's a great way to humanize machine writing. Okay. I like semicolons. Okay. When those internal conversations are not acknowledged, there is a comma in this sentence. They do not disappear. When you have two sentences and one has a comma in it and the other one does not, it's very simple. Add the semicolon and lowercase they. This looks more like my writing. Okay. Now, here comes this choppy stuff that I absolutely hate. You can also, before you have AI write you something, demand that it not do this. And in fact, I've used prompts before. Do not give me short, punchy sentences, especially fragments in threes. That's exactly what this is, okay? So we're going to change this up. Instead of engagement, become selective because it sounds like voiceover for a commercial, okay? It sounds very marketing, okay? We're going to say, here comes the selective engagement. Now, for me, this is a social post. It's something in digital. It's more in my voice. So I don't need it to look formal. I can say this. Here comes the selective engagement. Okay. And we're going to make it a series. Uneven adoption. And the alignment is surface. Or you can say in the surface alignment, surface level alignment. I think that's what I want to say. Let's say surface You're going to use a hyphen there because it is describing the word surface level alignment. It's describing alignment. So let's get away from that. Okay. And now it says, but something underneath it remains unsettled. So I'm going to say, and yet, well, and something, let's just say something remains unsettled. Okay. That's the way I would write it. How would you write it? That's the question. And this is why your brain is bigger than AI. Remember, you're the human, you're in charge. Slap it around, okay? Help it to understand how you like to write, okay? Not this machine AI slop. This is not a failure of communication. This is another thing that it does. It always starts with a negative and then gives the positive. Switch it up, okay? Why don't we do, this is a reminder of what communication actually requires, and it is not a failure of communication. See how this changes, and look at the way it looks like prose and not verse. So folks out there, I love you all. And it hurts my soul that so many of us are in such a hurry that we're putting AI slop out there and it's undermining our brands. Until next time, I'll bring you another AI edit. Bye.